Hello, what is up, degenerate Shiki Khans? If you play Azur Lane and have looked around in the community, you may have seen this particular tier list floating around. And based on my last tier list video, I know you guys really love them. So in this extremely serious video, I'll be briefly going over some of the key points in this Azur Lane tier list to help out any new players who don't know which ships they should be leveling. Also, just to be clear, I did not make this list. It was probably made by a JP bro some months ago, and I can't read Japanese, but I'm sure he did plenty of research when making this list. I don't necessarily agree completely with all the placements, but we'll be going over them right now. So first on the list is Cashino, the only tier X ship on this list. And I guess she's this tier because she's the only munitions class ship in the game. The munitions class is special because they can carry cargo equipment, which provide a pretty big passive buff to your fleet's damage, and 10% damage is really nothing to sneeze at. Personally, I wouldn't put her in the X tier, but I can understand at the very least since she's one of a kind, being the only munitions ship in the game so far. Next, we have the tier 0 ships, starting with the carrier Taiho. Her first skill is RNG, but when you're lucky, her airstrikes launch 3 extra squadrons, including a 10% damage buff for your main fleet. So if you have perfect luck every time, she probably does the most damage in the game. Following Taiho is Shinano, another IJN carrier and the first ultra rare ship to be summonable from construction. Her skill text looks like Fire Emblem Heroes skills, but basically she does a ton of damage, buffs your own ships, and debuffs enemies. I definitely agree with her high placement on this list since she's pretty easily the best carrier in the game right now. Surprisingly enough, Algery is next on this list, and I don't really have a lot of experience with using her since I auto all my ships, and she has a skill that boosts her evasion when playing on manual, so I bet she's a pretty tanky heavy cruiser for people who want to use French manual play meme teams. Next, I'll group Bremerton and St. Louis together since they're both US cruisers. And they're placed high on this list, I guess, because they have good anti-air, which is pretty much needed for Worlds 12 and 13 to combat the never-ending plane swarm. On the far side of this list, we have Enterprise here, who is still one of the best release SSRs in the game with her Warida skill that does a ton of damage and is just generally annoying to go against in PvP. Underneath, we have the SP tier, which I can only assume stands for Super Petan. We have Queen Elizabeth, Saratoga, and Admiral Hipper, which, as you can see, have good anti-air values here. And World 12 and 13, you need anti-air for all of those planes. There's a lot of ships in the next tier, tier 1, so I'll be going over them pretty fast. FDG, an ultra rare PR ship. She does a ton of damage with her guns and barrage, but it's pretty hard to get all of the blueprints to max her out. But still, one of the best battleships in the game, with New Jersey being the only one that comes close. Littorio, pasta ships are OP now with the latest Italian event. Prince of Wales, I guess it's because you can see her nipple indentions in this skin. Duke of York, HMS BBs just do a ton of damage in general with Warspite, Monarch, and Hal. Zara, past ships are OP. Graf Zeppelin, the best German carrier in the game. Illustrious, she can carry 2 fighter equips for easy air superiority. Formidable has access to the Zawardo stand so that all of your torps hit. Great for single target bosses. Belfast, she gains bonus damage for every skin that you have of her. Kaching, she can teleport short distances and she does massive electro damage. Sirius, she buffs CVs so that they do big damages. Ranger, she can launch a ton of airstrikes if you get really lucky with her skills. And Azuma, an ultra rare PR ship and also one of the tankiest vanguards in the game since she's the only super cruiser class. Alright, so I won't go over the remaining ships, but I'll let you look at it for a bit to appreciate the thought that went into each of these placements. While tier lists are fun to bait out mad comments who take them too seriously, Azur Lane is a PvE game and you can beat 95% of the game's content with whatever ship you want. If you want to try hard in Operation Siren or World 13, then sure, use a tier list to figure out what ships are the strongest. But at the end of the day, you should be using the ships that you like. So trust your heart, not some random tier lists. And if you watched all the way until now, thanks for watching. Sub if you want to see more random weeb degenerate content, I guess. And may your boats have fair winds and following seas.